Nice to meet
How
you.
are you? Very nice to meet you.
I'm pretty fine. I'm pretty fine. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, very nice.
I have a lineup of wines here. I've got my Riedel glasses.
Oh, so we are just like that with video glasses and the same bottle. So we are practically in the same room.
Very good. Exactly. Absolutely. Fantastic. This is amazing technology today.
Incredible.
Imagine my grandfather, to do this, had to get on a ship, had to travel 3 weeks across the ocean.
Yes.
Press a button.
It's really impressive. It's good. There are some things that are coming and arriving to stay, but I really miss traveling and meeting people and knowing the place personally and this kind of thing. But definitely some of the trips that I used to do, I'm gonna avoid in the future. But, yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
You travel a lot as well, don't you?
Like crazy. I'm like 150 days a year on the road. So
well,
traveling, stop, always visiting people, talking, telling stories, and so on. Now I have to kind of slow down, control it.
Every year I say that I'm going to travel a little bit less in the following year. It never happens.
Never happens. I know.
No. I also, we have an office in US, so I spend a week I spend 5 days every 45 days in our office over there. And then from there, I usually go to another trip, or Europe, or South America, or something like this. And that's life. My family is definitely not used to have me at home.
Have you home? Says, who are you?
Something like that. My son just came in. When are you going to US? I said, I don't know. Why? Well, I have some shopping that I made in Amazon. They are delivering in the office. So if you ever go, please bring it to me. So I'm like that, bringing things to my son and family. That's it. But it's great. It's great. Thank you very much for giving us the pleasure of having this opportunity to talk and
thank you with you, Christian. It's a pleasure.
No, it's great. I think that people are going to get into the room very soon.
What time is it over there?
Well, it's just time. So
7 o'clock.
I just let people get into the room. So we are almost good to go. The system is uploading the participants right now. So, well, let me see. 4, 5. Well, that's great. They're coming. So
They're coming slowly. No rush. No rush.
No problem. But
you know, with this system, it's more difficult to come up with excuse. You cannot say, "Oh, traffic jam" and so on. You have to be on time.
But there is people that even though they arrive late and give some excuse, I say, "What kind of traffic jam did you got from your kitchen to the living room or something?"
Yes.
I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think that we have a lot of people in the room right now. So in order to, as a question of respect for the people that arrive on time, I
agree.
Start, if you agree with that.
I do agree, absolutely. Okay. I'm ready, and we can repeat things as we go along, no problem.
Perfect. Well, so first of all, Salvatore Ferragamo, thank you very much for joining us in our Conversa com Vinho, which is something, a little talk that we do from time to time. Right now, we do it as an exchange for a regular interview where we talk with a producer that we respect and to taste wine together. And we are doing it using the technology. I would like to thank everybody that's already in here participating with us. They are either associates of our ADEGA Wine Club, and also people that is in partners invited by EPSI, your importer here in Brazil, which is a good friend of us. Luli is already in there, and I appreciate to have the opportunity to have you here. Please, if you could, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's begin.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Christian. Christian Burgos, right?
Yes.
Christian Burgos, thank you very much. This is an incredible pleasure to be here. We are very lucky that we can take advantage of this technology to be live. And I feel when I do this live shows like this, like if I am visiting Brazil physically, but this is really unbelievable. So thank you for this incredible opportunity. Thank you also, of course, to our importer, EPIS, for their incredible support that they have shown over the years. And to the Rivista ADEGA for allowing me to talk about Il Borro and to give a flavor of Tuscany on this opportunity. So thank you very much. And thanks to all the audience that is following us on this program. So this is my family estate in Tuscany. It's called Il Borro, and it was purchased by my family, by my father, in 1993. Now, the property is found about 45 minutes south of Florence, close to the town of Arezzo. We are in the heart of Tuscany, so central Tuscany. And we are very fortunate because we have the Apennine mountain range. It's very high mountain range to the north. And then we come down into the valley of this valley known as the Valdarno Valley. And this is the valley where the river Arno runs. So we go from the mountains down to the river. And according to the diversity of soils that we have on the property, we're going from mountain rocky soils to more compact clayish types of soil in the valley and everything in between. We plant different types of vines according to those soils. So our philosophy as a wine producer, with the wines that we see here, is of matching the different types of vines according to the different types of soils and terroir that we have on the property. At the same time, we believe in sustainability. So since 2015, we have become a completely organic property where everything is 100% sustainable and organic farming. Not only wine, but also extra virgin olive oil, vegetables, chicken, eggs, honey, beef, we're producing pasta, cheese, everything produced on the property and available also to our second activity, which is hospitality. So on the property, we own a medieval village that dates back to 1,000 years ago, has been completely restored and transformed into a 5-star Relais and Chateau hotel. Really beautiful, beautiful estate, beautiful property.
I had the opportunity to share the video that you sent to all the people that is watching right now.
Ah, fantastic.
So they had the opportunity to see it, and later on, when we bring our conversation to the YouTube, we are going to add this video as well. It's an incredible place. Go and please.
It really is. It really is, Christian. Thank you so much for saying that. It is a spectacular property, sometimes difficult to describe because it's not only a winery, it's not a hotel, it's not a farm, everything together, but with a concept of sustainability, which is so important. So we believe in producing everything in a sustainable fashion, but not only wines, but also our hotel. It's a negative carbon footprint property. We produce actually 3 times as much energy as we consume. So we contribute to about 93,000 tons of CO2 emission reduction to the planet, which is an important concept. So our guests, when they fly over to Italy, with their presence on the property is actually offsetting the CO2 emission from their flight over, which is an unbelievable concept. So this
Your
is
sister is a specialist in sustainability, is that so?
I'm sorry?
Your sister is a specialist in sustainability. Is she who takes care of this part of the property or not?
Oh yes, she's in charge. My sister Victoria is in charge of special projects. So she has a vegetable garden, the production of fantastic honey on the property. So she's overlooking at all of the careful organic production of the estate. Um, she also runs, we have two boutique shops. We have a little activity for the boutique activity on the estate that she also operates. So yes, she's particularly careful about the sustainability as well. But with the whole family is really, my father, everybody is there. I think today you cannot ignore it anymore. You know, the population in the world is grown a lot, and so we have to keep this in mind.
That's great. I love it to see the way you describe your hotel like a medieval luxury hospitality or something like this. And it's fun way to describe. I never seen this before, and I like it, the idea that even with the hospitality, which is you have a lot of gastronomy and including arts in the property, don't you?
Oh yes, absolutely,
Could
Christian.
you
It's very
describe this concept of culture and art as also in the property, please?
absolutely. It is a unique concept because the estate is it's quite large. It's 1,100 hectares, so about 3,000 acres in size. Right at the center of the property, there is this medieval village that dates back to 1,000 years ago, and this is really a architectural, cultural, historic experience of staying in this beautiful medieval hilltop village. The only means of access is through a very narrow and tall stone bridge. It really is unique. And at the same time, though, that on the property, we the other side of the bridge, there is the restaurant, the main villa. So it's all part of a whole experience. You're going from a medieval village to the restaurant, to the main villa, to the spa, and second restaurant area, and to the winery. And this is really a unique concept. The winery is beautiful. It's old, a 300-year-old winery. But at the same time, we can find a little space in the winery for a collection of art that my father has accumulated over the years. So we have artists and all the paintings and the art pieces are with the theme of wine. So there is either a grape, a glass, a bottle, or something in all the paintings. And so we have masterpieces from Mantegna, which is from pre-discovery of America, 500-year-old paintings. We have Picasso, we have Warhol, we have a Monet, we have Dürer, many fantastic artists, really beautiful, and it's a fantastic experience because sometimes you go to see a winery. You get wine people like me that get very passionate about wine and talk and talk and talk and talk. Instead, you can have a break and you can see a bit of art and so on, and then you can taste some wines in front of them, art and beautiful masterpieces. And I think this is truly unique.
How did you got into the wine business? Well, of course, with your border, but was wine your passion before your border?
Yes, well, I am born and raised in Tuscany, so art is part of my culture. So I am exposed to wines since I was very, very young. Um, Most of my friends produce wine. We produce wines. My grandmother produced some wines in a sister property called Viesca, which is very close to Il Borro, which we actually manage, and we produce some wines there. And it's actually a funny story because my grandmother's wine, fairness, God bless her, it was not fantastic. So my father, when he bought Il Borro, he said, you know, one thing I'll never do is make wine. And so, slowly I convinced him. And I said, you know, we have so many guests. I'm sure they would like to participate into a wine experience on the property. And so we planted the first vines on the estate. And from there, we started producing wines. And from 4 hectares, we are today at 85 hectares of vineyards. So I've converted my father into a believer. So he's definitely enjoying the wines from Il Borro, for sure. But it's a beautiful part of Tuscany. The wines are coming really nicely. Biesca is a lovely addition to the family hospitality business. We're so happy I could take over my grandmother's property and managing it for the whole family. And since it's very close to Il Borro. But you must come, Christian. You must come to visit us in Tuscany.
As soon as the quarantine lets me, I will. But let me ask you something. You started replanting the old vines that were in the property. How did you choose? No? All right.
No, we plant everything from scratch.
You started from scratch. Great. And how did you choose the varieties that you would start planting in the beginning?
Well, we actually did very careful study of all our soil. So from the mountain soil, rocky, dry, steep, ideal for Sangiovese. Okay. As you're going down into the valley, you find where the valley meets at the mountain. You find rocky, or you find more like pebble-ish type of soil and sandy soil. Okay. And so that is an ideal condition with the sand to grow the Cabernet Sauvignon, and in the pebbles, the rounded stones, to plant Syrah. Syrah wants a lot of heat, so ideal condition to grow the Syrah. Then as you're coming down into the valley, steeper down into the valley, more of that compact clayish type of soil, ideal for the Merlot. So we plant, really our concept is to plant vines according to the different type of soil. So the French would say according to the terroir. Yes. Which is our philosophy. Great.
And did you manage to have success in the first trial, or did you have to change the location of some of the vines and grapes? And it was a discovery process, or everything fitted together perfectly since the beginning?
No. In fact, it's not been easy. We had some changes. We did a careful study. So we did excavation to about 4 meters underground to see the soil structure. Yes. But then in some cases we had to replant because it was not so successful. But you know, wine is something you build over centuries, you know, for generations and generations. I don't do this for me. I don't do this for my children. Maybe the children of my children will see a result. You know, it's a very long-term investment. Fascinating.
Thanks God, we are seeing the result in the glass right now. We don't need to wait for 2 or 3 generations to drink it, and it's very good. Yes. It's very good.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, we brought. I received 3 wines for us to taste. The first one, I think we are going to taste Borrigiano. Yes.
Yes. Okay. The very first wine is called Borrigiano. This is the label of the wine. Perfect. Borrigiano is the name of the people that live at Il Borro were called Borrigiani, so the inhabitants of Il Borro were Borrigiani. And this is a 2018 vintage. No oak on this wine. This wine is actually a blend of Merlot, Sangiovese, and Syrah. So three varieties, almost equally in maybe a little bit more Merlot. In making this wine, I was inspired by the concept of making a wine that is less oaky, more versatile, a wine you can enjoy with food or without, just very, very easy wine to enjoy. a very fruit forward. You get a bit of spice, this little dry spice, dry flowery spice that you have on the finish, maybe from some of the Syrah. A nice backbone, a bit of a delicate tannic structure from the Sangiovese that gives you a bit of that acidity typical of the Sangiovese. I agree. But a lovely wine you can enjoy with food, without, light plates, maybe a fresh pecorino cheese would be ideal for this wine.
It's the first time I'm drinking it because it's also the first time it's being tasted in Brazil.
Yes.
It recently arrived at Epsi with Luli, and he said, "Well, okay, let's bring it to the tasting." And I really enjoy it. I enjoy it for three things. It's a very frank wine. It values the fruit. It's completely fruit driven. But when I say fruit, it's not that the profile is only fruit. There is a lot of flour and pepper in it, and also red, fresh fruit. And this brings acidity and some kind of like earth notes to the wine, maybe in the end of the taste. And I love the idea that you did not use any wood, oak in it.
No oak. No oak in this. No, zero oak. It's vinified in large wooden vats. So 75 HL vat in wood. So you get a bit of that roundness on the tannins of red wine, as we all know, has tannins.
Yes.
And in this case, we actually gave it a bit of that softer tannins. The tannins a bit softened up by the large container. But that's it. The idea was to keep it.
It's very hard to find people that are willing to produce an unoaked premium wine, and I think this is very courageous, and it paid back because the wine is great and bring us. It's a wine for the table. It's something to share with food and share with people, and this is great. You could not be more trendy and up to date than this. Congratulations. I like it.
Thank you.
Pretty much, and also I can feel that each of the varieties really adds something to the wine. You really find the varieties in the wine. So when you talk about the softer tannins that you find, it's Merlot, and the red fruit is Merlot. There is a little bit of iron also. That is typical of Merlot. And people sometimes identify it as blood.
Blood, yes, of course.
Yes, and it's iron. But then you have the spiciness of Syrah and the earthness of Sangiovese and the acidity of Sangiovese. It's a very, very good mix. Congratulations on this wine. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your very kind and accurate description. You've described it beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the wine that you are launching here in Brazil. I think it's very good for restaurants. Unfortunately, not all restaurants are open in Brazil right now, but I think it's going to be you spoke about pecorino. Of course, this is great, but I think that also any pasta with tomato sauce would be great with this wine. The acidity is going to match perfectly. Congratulations on this wine.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Christian.
What about I think we could move to the second wine, which is Piandinova.
Piandinova, 2014 vintage. It's maybe the wine I personally drink more often. So it's a wine that I drink every day I have a glass of Pian di Nova because it's a very versatile wine.
Yes.
It's made of 75% Syrah and 25% Sangiovese. It's a wine that we age for 12 months in second or third passage barrique. But the idea in this case is a wine that we want to actually have a expression of the Syrah grape variety on this part of Tuscany. And we have fantastic soils for Syrah, this gravelly type of soil that gets very warm during the hot summer days, maintaining the heat also at night, very important for the Syrah grape variety, leading to full maturity of the Syrah. In fact, you'll find that on the nose of this wine, you'll see that it is actually very fruit forward. A lot of black and red berry fruits are present on the nose of this wine, but still maintaining that character of Syrah, this like spiciness, this dry spice, like a white peppery spice that is typical of Syrah. And then you have the Sangiovese that gives it a bit of backbone, a bit of acidity and structure that provides for the perfect balance. So a lovely wine I enjoy, I think really every day. And drinking beautifully. Eh?
It has, we find more structure in this wine. This is a wine to age. In my opinion, it's already 6 years old. I think that it would be great, and to definitely it's going to increase it for more 10 years easily. I will drink it later on also. But the one thing that I like in this is that the acidity is the backbone that is going to permit this wine to age. And the tannins, as you say, they are here, but they are like stealth tannins. You don't. They are there, but
they're stealth.
Yes, you don't feel it very easily. This is not the first impact. And I like it very much, the fruit description that you brought to the wine, but I really feel a huge amount of minerality in the nose.
Yes. This is incredible. This is our terroir. We have this fantastic richness in minerality in the soil that leads you also to maybe some notes of eucalyptus, of mint, which is...
There is some kind of a powder. I don't know how to say. I don't recall how to say talco in Portuguese. Yeah. Yes, it's a powder. I feel it here, and it's an incredible wine. This one is just Syrah and Sangiovese, and you said that Syrah is a little bit different than the usual Syrah in Tuscany. Could you develop it a little bit more on this? What do you how do you feel the different kinds of Syrah?
Yes, I think in Tuscany the Syrah takes advantage of the heat, so it gets very, very warm in Tuscany. So the Syrah variety, that of course Syrah is famous in the Côte d'Or in France, northern climate. Maybe the Syrah is different. The Syrah in the Côte d'Or tends to be a bit maybe more herbaceous. Still, of course, northern climate, so maybe more cooler, more less ripe type of flavors. But instead, as you're coming down into Tuscany, you have a lot of heat. This leads you to more warmth, much more full maturity of the Syrah grape that requires a lot of heat.
You find more volume in the mouth as well. I like.
You find more volume, but you're also moving, and I still do. You find a bit of the peppery flavors of Syrah are still a bit here, but they're softer. You know, they're more. There is some peppery flavors, but also you're going towards the fruit because of the heat, which allows the fruit to actually develop and mature at its full capacity. And this is because of the heat of Tuscany. So that's what I mean by the difference of Tuscan Syrah versus, and you know, we're very fortunate. We enjoy wine, and wine is a wonderful, wonderful product. You know, you have those so many different grape varieties, different wine regions, different vintages. From one vintage to the other, you have big changes, vinification techniques. So with those variables, you can literally enjoy a different glass of wine for the rest of your life, never going back to the same wine, which is really a world of discovery, which I love so much about wine. And this is one good example of this.
You are the CEO of the company, but you see you are very much into the wine side of the business as well.
Yes.
How do you participate in this? Do you participate in the blends, in the tastings? What? Apart from being the ambassador of the wines, of course, but
yes, of course, I have the best job in the company because I have the possibility of traveling worldwide, and but at the same time participating in the concept of the philosophy of growing wines at the property. Our winemaker, consulting winemaker, Stefano Chioccioli, a fantastic winemaker, has been really great and introducing new techniques of vinification. We do a fiber optic sorter on the property. Everything has been, thanks to our collaboration with Chioccioli, turned into organic farming. We have been able to introduce different new barriques like the T5 from Touranceau, which is a fantastic barrique that is, instead of using a live flame, we use a charcoal that gently grazes the inside of the barrique. So I get involved in all this kind of aspect and producing wines, talking about wines, communicating about wines. So really, I see the full spectrum of the business, which I love, and I feel incredibly blessed to be part of this.
Okay, that's great. That's great, and it's really an opportunity to retaste this wine. I had tasted it before on April this year, and we evaluated it as 93 points in our magazine. It's a splendid wine, and I really like the idea of blending the Syrah with Sangiovese. You describe it very well. Why the match works so well? It's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Christian.
Now we are going to move to the third wine that we are going to taste tonight, and then we can talk a little bit more. This is Il Borro 2004.
This is the flagship wine, Il Borro Toscana. So here we go, 2014 vintage. A fantastic wine. The first wine from the estate. The very first vintage was the 1999. So it's difficult for me to pick the wines, but this is the one that is maybe closer to my heart, because you know, when we start to produce wines, we start from zero, planting the vines and everything, and giving a new life to this beautiful property. So this is a special wine. It's a blend of it's a blend of 50% Merlot, 35% Cabernet Sauvignon, and 15% Syrah. This wine is full-bodied and full body and structure, so we're actually aging it in brand new barrique for 18 months, much more powerful type of wine. What can I tell you about this wine? I think you'll find it curious. You get the Merlot that leads you in one direction. Then you have this full ripeness of dark berries on the palate with a bit of dark chocolate on the finish. But then as the wine breathes, you get this tobacco, sweet tobacco notes, a bit of leather that comes on the palate. And you still, and again, you find that Syrah is on the back here. You will find a bit of that eucalyptus, a bit of that white, delicate, white peppery spice. It just has an incredible complexity. You know, in Brazil, you have that wonderful tradition of enjoying meat, you know, the barbecue meat. And
a lot of barbecue over here.
This is fantastic for it.
This is really a great wine. The one thing that I think is very interesting is because in the nose and in the beginning of the palate, it has a French origin. Then the fruit, fruit from Tuscany. So
yes,
yes,
as this blend.
it's a blend. It's very interesting to see how you manage to have this traditional, classical style of wine, but you let the fruit participate in it and brings more joy to the blend. It's quite interesting, and I really think this is a great wine that's going to age forever. I would keep it for at least 15 years in my cellar.
Yeah, I agree. Despite being 6 years old, it's still drinking young. You know, it is incredible.
Yes, a lot. And the good thing is that we are always thinking about curves, evolution curves in this kind of wine. And what I really think is that it has its structure and acidity to go on, but it also has a lot of fruit. So it's going to lose the fruit smoothly during the time. So we are going to have a vivid, vibrant, and happy wine and for a long time. And even though you already feel some of the pepper and leather and this kind of usually tertiary.
Yes, notes.
Characteristics that you feel. But I would not say that these tertiary characteristics, they are part of the evolution process. This is Sihai speaking in the wine. And it's going to increase with time. But the very good thing is that it has a lot of fruit to follow this long path. This one is really a great wine. Congratulations. I don't know how.
Thank you.
Have you tasted your first vintage recently?
I have about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, I had a vertical tasting. We don't have many bottles left, so it doesn't happen often. But it's this wine reminds me a bit of the 1999. There is some flavors of the 99 because it's going towards more of that leathery notes, tobacco, but at the same time still maintaining that fruity, dark fruity character, which is very typical of and something which is very true to our terroir is this incredible minerality that sometimes we talk about minerality and sapidity in white wines. But I think you can also say that you find it in red wines too.
Yeah.
This wine has this vibrance and this minerality and depth that is very much part of our terroir. In tasting all three wines, I think you can taste this.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I really think that in this one, all the characteristics express itself in a much bigger and broader way. But you are right, because this minerality comes in the end. After the acidity already cleaned your palate, you have this sapidity that you said. The minerality is over there. Even though I agree with you that it's a great wine to have with meat, I would require a very special meat to join to open this wine because it's a very unique opportunity to taste this kind of wine. And I think that with time, it's going to get better and better and better.
I agree.
It's quite interesting. Did you change anything in the vinification process from the first vintage? What did you learn, and what did you change in this 15 years? Because the first one,
We changed.
99.
We change a few things. Like we used to vinify this wine also with Petit Verdot. But Petit Verdot, as you know, is not a wine you can vinify by itself, but it's also very powerful, especially with the heat of Tuscany. It gives you a lot of spice, darkness to the wine. And so I think today the market is asking for more elegance. And so we remove the Petit Verdot from this wine. We introduced a new ways of vinification. So we collect everything in baskets. It comes to the winery in 20 kilo basket, 15 kilo baskets. Then we go to a refrigerated container. We reduce the temperature. Then we go into a fiber optic sorter, which actually started from this vintage. So we select every single berry that is viewed from and then we go into the vinification process, aging, and in this aging, we also are using these fantastic new barriques that today are available in the market, like the T5 from Touranceau with the gentle raising of the inside of the barrique, and really giving more of this sweet tobacco notes that I think you can taste on this wine. There is a bit of coffee, but also this flavor of the sweet tobacco notes.
You're right about that.
So you know, making wines is a question of evolution and creativity. And at the winery, we have been able to be part of this course, and which makes my job incredibly dynamic and exciting. You know, it's a bit like in the fashion business, you're doing a new collection every year.
do you feel like that? You actually worked a little bit in your family company in Salvatore Ferragamo.
I have. Of course, it's my father is a chairman of the board.
Yes.
President, and my twin brother, I have an identical twin, is in charge of all leather goods, ladies and men's leather goods, and he's vice president today, or vice chairman of the board, and so I'm of course very much exposed to the fashion side of the business, and in producing wine, I think there is an element that you cannot control, and that is nature, and it's the vintage. Every vintage you get a different result. But it is incredibly interesting how man and nature work together to create something with 4 hands, you know, versus 2 hands. And I think that is really unique. At the same time, we have made different wines. We have about 11 different labels, and we produce wines like in Amphora. We produce early harvest Sangiovese, Rosé, Champenois style wines. The Alessandro Dal Borro, 100% Syrah, only magnums. I'm working on a new project this year, actually we're bottling next year from 2018 vintage. And this is only biodynamic with the use of a horse in working a vineyard of 2 hectares, really unique. So there is an element of creativity in producing wines, a bit like fashion, I would say for sure.
Great. Let me ask you something else. What did you do with the old Petit Verdot that you had? You actually use it in another wine, or you just gave up Petit Verdot in the...
I changed the Petit Verdot. I planted more vines for our Chardonnay. So we are producing more Chardonnay. But I kind of took the Petit Verdot out.
You restocked the Chardonnay in the old Petit Verdot course?
Great.
Okay.
Yes, I think they call it also grafting, you know.
Yes, grafting, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. And so we took advantage of the vegetational stage. You gain a year if you do that versus taking it out and planting in the
even
new
more because you have all the underground part of the vine
also
that is already developed. The roots are already there. So
yeah,
this is very good. It's a very good system. And for the people that are with us right now and never seen a optical selection, it's a unique machine. It kind of goes like a tunnel, and the system actually reads the grapes and identify the one that is not according to the preset measurements that the winemaker selected, and there is like a some kind of airflow that just
expands.
I don't know, spells that unique grape that could bring some unwanted flavor to the wine. So it really brings, create wines that are like polished to perfection because there is nothing to mess with the kind of grape that you want into it. Did I describe it properly?
Christian, you beautifully, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. Just because not everybody knows it. And did you ever thought about using bigger vats in other wines that you are producing?
You know, in the Borro from 2016 vintage,
okay.
We are doing 18 months in new barrique for almost, I would say, 60% of the production. Okay. And instead, 40% goes into big wooden vats, like the Barolo type of vats. You know?
Yes, great.
And so I think the market wants to find more elegance in the wines, you know, and I think it's moving in that direction. And so it's a question of evolution, also of the flavor and the style of production. And we actually are seeing some very interesting results. The larger vats are beautiful. The wooden larger vats are really unbelievable. But the combination of the new oak, smaller in the barrique, and I think is a good solution. Good solution. I think it's working well for us at the board.
I think so. This wine is great, but I really think I was expecting something this to happen somehow because I think that you are moving to a more Italian style. And I think that the big vats from the same that you use in Piedmont would bring this Italian, more Italian flavor to the wine. But this is great to know that everybody is always trying something new and evolving with the knowledge and the wine. So congratulations. But for me, this wine is perfect. It's incredible. We gave it 94 points
Thank you.
For last evaluation. I think I'm going to increase it to 95 after today. Because
thank you, bro.
No,
close to that. Salute.
Salute. And one of the things that I would suggest for people that have this wine in their cellars is you need to decant it for at least 30 minutes.
I agree.
But in my opinion, one of the things that I would do, I would use the decanter over a bowl. Here in Brazil, we need it with ice in it. So we would bring oxygen to the wine without losing the temperature, because it's very important in this kind of wine with such a powerful concentration and elements to maintain the temperature that you are going to drink the wine.
It's so important.
Yes, it's not beautiful, but this is the perfect way to decant this kind of wine. So you could bring it to the table or drink it a little bit without losing the perfect temperature in this wine. I really enjoy it. Every time that I drink Uboro, it makes me think. There are some wines that make you think and say, wow, what is going to happen? What is happening in here? And it's like a class. You are learning something in every sip. I really like this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Christian.
No, I thank you. And we thank you for the opportunity of sharing this wine and this tasting with us. And this has been a great opportunity. I would like to invite you next year if you could come to Brazil. We have a wonderful, unique tasting that we do every year. It's called ADEGA International Tasting. I hope you can be part of it as one of our 4 invited guests to promote their wines and show their wines to our readers.
Thank you very much, Christian. That would be unbelievable. I would love to come to Brazil. I hope once all of the situation is behind us, of course, of the lockdown and the difficulties that we are experiencing.
Yes.
But I'm very lucky that I could be invited by you and to talk about wines and to share, because people are, I think today more than ever, need to have content. You know, people to tell them stories from different parts of the world, and wine is one of them. So I make a toast to you for your job and for what you represent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I will be faithful to Simone that asked me to finish before 7 p.m. over here because it's very late over there. Thank you. No.
Absolutely.
Thank you for waiting for us to adapt to your schedule to our time and our time frame. And I expect to meet you personally next time, either in Brazil or in Italy. Let's do it. Okay.
I hope so. Absolutely. I hope to see you soon back in Tuscany. And I really appreciate this incredible opportunity. A very special thanks to all the viewers that have followed us during this tasting. And of course, Brazil is a special country. I had a fantastic friend of mine in Brazil. So I have incredible fond memories of your country. And I hope to come back and to visit you and to share a good glass together. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And with this, we finish our tasting for today. I thank you again, Salvatore Ferragamo, for being part of it, and all of you that stay with us during this wonderful tasting. Thank you, Salvatore. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Ciao.
You as well. Ciao.